Beautiful, beautiful. When I meet these young children, it makes me more fresh. How long since you wear this? How long? 2 years? 1 year? Okay. Thank you, thank you.干啥屌丝？喂。哦。Thank you.
Very good afternoon, everybody.
Sit down, sit down.
Sit down. And a warm welcome to this afternoon's talk, Compassion, the Foundation of Well-Being, by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, followed by a question and answer session for which Daniel Goleman will join His Holiness on stage. But first we will be entertained by members of the Tibetan community in Britain.
Tashidele, Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin today's performances, I would like you to join me in offering the long life prayer for His Holiness, the great 14th Dalai Lama. Kangri rawe kowe shinkamsu penda dewa malu jugme ne.
Chere sewa tenzin jazo yi kut shabe side pado tenju che.
Your Holiness, on this very auspicious and joyous occasion, we, the Tibetan community members, feel honored and blessed to be given this incredible opportunity to present to you a couple of traditional Tibetan songs. We are truly, truly indebted for your tireless effort and dedication in promoting universal human values, religious harmony, and the issue of Tibet. Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, first we have a solo performance by Ngawan Lodju, a former monk born in the province of Amdo in Tibet.
I'm absolutely honored to have this wonderful opportunity to perform in front of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and this beautiful crowd. Thank you.
Andila sa sa ya ya Achala
Quý vị này You come from Amdo. More or less it's the same. I also Amdo. Amdo. Camera.
Compassionate.
Dear brothers and sisters, indeed, I am very, very happy to be here with you. This opportunity to share some of my own thoughts and concern, and also through question and answer, I also learn some new things. Sometimes the question, unexpected question come. It's very helpful. To have the opportunity to think that point I never thought something seriously. So very helpful. So firstly, I much appreciate the organizer who organized this opportunity. Thank you very much. Then, you people here, public, today, correct? Saturday. Perhaps holiday, isn't it? Or half. In any way, you see, you come here. I think to watch me. So I'm nothing special. I'm one of the 7 billion human beings. The speaker or the audience basically same. Mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. As a matter of fact, 7 billion human beings are same. You also sometimes see some problem with emotion. Me too, some problem. And at the same time, everyone have sort of a certain potential to face these emotional difficulties. Same. So long, this brain there, and usually we call heart, which you see as the symbol or symbolize of warm-heartedness. Everyone have the same sort of potential. So biologically, we have the seed of infinite love, infinite compassion. So some scientists, they carry some investigation. They to very young, as an infant child, 2-3 months old, language not yet developed, and then to such a young infant child, show cartoon. The cartoon, one cartoon, you see, young children play together affectionately. When the young infant see these such picture, I was smiling, showing happiness. When another cartoon, children, the negative attitude, then showing that the young child, little sort of
distance,
the unhappy sort of the attitude like that. So then, more important, person, human being, experience constant fear, anger, hatred, actually eating immune system. Then, more compassionate mind, with practice of compassion or with compassion feeling, naturally some sort of more stronger more strength, practice of tolerance and forgiveness to such person. Their mind more calm. As a result, their physical condition, physical health much better. So these are now scientific findings. And also use our common sense. When you look at your neighbor, those neighbor may be very rich or billionaire, but in their home, lack of genuine sort of affection. Even among the family of the family member, some sort of a little sort of distrust or suspicion, then that family always some tense. So material value, material thing fail to bring friendship, love, peace. Then another, your neighbor, materially poor, but in the family, full of love, full of trust. So that family, much happier. If you already so notice that, then think more. If you not yet, then try to spy your neighbor, which neighbor more happier, which neighbor a little bit unhappy, then think, investigate, like that. So if you use common sense and scientific finding, quite clearly, you see, clearly indicate warm-heartedness is ultimately immense benefit, even for our own health. And then we are a social animal. Friendship is very essential, very important. So how to build friendship? Trust is the key factor. So for trust, if you show sincere affection to them, then trust comes. Even animal, when you show genuine affection to dogs, to cats, some birds, still I don't know, to mosquito, I don't know, whether we show sincere affection, whether they appreciate or not, I don't know. So generally, all those mammals, you see, when you show them affection, they appreciate. So then human being, no question, we are a social animal, like that. So now here, we all have same experience, same potential. So when I met you, meeting with you, I feel I'm talking another human brothers, sisters. Same. I also have some problems, difficulties. At the same time, I also have the ability to face these problems without disturb inner mind. You also have the same sort of potential. And then another thing, 7 billion human beings, we all come from our mother. Everyone, you see, received the maximum affection from our mother. So that is the occasion, seeding in our heart, in our mind, affection. So the person who received the maximum affection from other, particularly from mother, in the early life, early period of life, more sort of the potential, show other affection. Those people who are lacking that kind of experience, and I think whole life, some kind of sense of insecurity, suspicion, fear, always remain there. So we all have the same experience. So now I'm quite an old person, 80 years old. So some of my same age brothers, sisters, you see, I usually describe, we are generation of the 20th century. So these young people, particularly you see, those persons whose age below 30, 20, and you are the generation of the 21st century. So our century gone. Sometimes I jokingly, you see, sort of telling people, my generation of the 20th century, you see, we create a lot of problem on this planet. And also, I think, great damage about the environment. And a lot of sort of killing. Unthinkable. Human being killing another human being. And the worst thing, and the difference of religious faith. Unthinkable. So these problems, I feel, my generation, 20th century, I think we believe force, violence can bring victory yourself. So too much emphasis, we and they, ultimately me. So we are a social animal. We have to think, we also, you see, have to extend entire 7 billion human being, part of we, same human being. So now time come, we have to, so therefore you see, past mistake, believe, weapon, including nuclear weapon, is the ultimate sort of answer for conflict, for problem. And also money. If you have sort of plenty of money, many problems solved. I think these are, wrong perception. So, 20th century, I think, the generation of 20th century, I think certain things, you see, wrong view, wrong concept, and also neglect. So still, the beginning of 21st century, some unhappy problems, actually symptom of the past mistake or past negligence. There's no question. You can think seriously. So now, my generation's responsibility done, create a lot of problems. Now this generation of the 21st century, you have to solve these things. So sometimes I sort of jokingly used to telling, for example, myself, you see, within next, I think, 10, 15, 20 years, I will die, I will go. Then, even I go to hell, I can get sort of some permission, come to world to see. So then I come to the world to see. Then the 21st century's generation still carry same way, killing, bully, cheating, selfish way, then when I return to hell, then I will report the concerned authority there. Please, you should expand more hell. You see, a lot of people ready to come. So now, the point is, the generation of 21st century, you have opportunity. Logically, past is past. We cannot change. Even God cannot change. Only memory or some effect from the past there, but past itself now gone. Now future, not yet reached, but the future depends present. So there is possibility, some change, future. If we now think more logical way, more logical way, and act tirelessly, then future would be better future, happier future. So now key thing is, I always say, telling, or I believe, according to my belief, and also you see, as a result of sort of discussion with number of scientists or educationists, religious leaders also, and use my own common sense, and then it's quite clear. If we think fundamental level, we are human being, same human being, then I want happy life, they also want happy life. So then through that way, you see, develop sense of concern of their well-being. It comes on the level of human being. That's the fundamental level. Now secondary level, yes, different country, different race, different color, and different faith. Then make differences, they and we. Even same faith, same sort of country, same race, we further sort of making the divisions, rich and poor, educated, uneducated. So then, there's plenty of factors to make division clear. So that's secondary level. I think the problem in the past as well as today, I think problem, we too much emphasis secondary level of differences. If we go deeper, we are same human being, then no ground. You see, to kill each other, to harm each other, to cheating each other, bully each other, they also same human being. All have same right to achieve happy life. So now, the younger generation, like these young Tibetan children, there is real hope. The remaining of this 21st century, if we make effort with the vision, with the proper plan, and end of this century can be more peaceful. Ultimately, peace very much related with warm-heartedness. Therefore, end of this century can be more compassionate world, compassionate humanity. That's possible. Now the way to promote love and compassion, in the past, more or less totally relying on religious belief. All major world religious tradition carry the same message of love, message of tolerance, self-discipline, contentment, forgiveness. All major religious tradition carry the same message. So all major religious traditions have same potential to bring inner peace. Through inner peace, world peace. However, now today, even among the believer, some little bit strange believer also there. So even you see, use the faith, as I mentioned earlier, more divisions like that. Like among the Muslim, Sunni, Shia, follow of same Quran. They worship Allah, same. And 5 times prayer daily, same. But some small differences, that different name, then it's dividing. Now, unfortunately, in Burma, some Buddhists also, you see, harming some Muslim community. So recently, some refugee from Burma, mainly Muslim. Really, even among religious people, now religion become the real sort of message of religion. That's love and also the forgiveness, tolerance, these things. This become lip service, not wholeheartedly follow. That also, I feel, lack of conviction, these value of these moral principles, such as love, compassion. Then today's world, out of 7 billion, over 1 billion non-believer. So these also human brothers, sisters. So now we need the ways and means to educate inner value, not relying on religion, but mainly scientific finding and our common sense and common experience. Use these things that we can educate people. So sometimes I sort of feel, really, the existing education system is very much oriented about external values, not much talk about our inner value. Regarding inner value is concerned, we totally rely on religion. And then religion, frankly speaking, I'm a religious person, I feel not adequate. So, and then furthermore, when we talk, when we seek, the serious thinking, the promotion of this value, relying on religion, then what is religion? There's complication. That's why in India, when India became independent, India is a multi-religious country. Therefore, India's constitution, secular basis. So according to Indian understanding, secular means not some kind of disrespect of religion, but rather respect all religions, no preference, and also respect non-believer. Even 3,000 years old, ago, there's some school of thought is actually materialistic or non-believer. So it is very clear when you see people sort of debate, they criticize that Charvaka philosophy is in nihilism. So rest of spiritual school of thought criticize that, but at the same time refer them rishi. Rishi means sage. So there is indication respect. So that's, I think, very relevant to today's world. There are a large number of non-believers. So the way to educate about homeheartedness, strictly secular way. And then the major religious tradition who carry teaching of love is actually further enhanced about human value. That's human love. So all religious tradition, actually, I feel based on secular ethics, which naturally come. So now, time come, we have to seriously discuss and think how to introduce existing modern education field through secular way, according secular way, to educate people from kindergarten up to university level. So then, my dear younger brothers, sisters, the generation of the 21st century, if you think seriously, and of course, this education, these things, I think the generation of the 20th century, we also have some sort of responsibility to think seriously. Then educate the younger generation through that way. Then perhaps the later part of this 21st century can be more peaceful, more compassionate. So whether achieve or not, that's a different question. We have to make effort. Then each of us, if thing which we want materialize, very good, very happy. Even not materialize, no regret. We make every effort, we try our best, then fail, then no regret. So therefore, compassion is, I think, the basis of happy society. And also, for health reasons, these days I also use the word hygiene of physical combined with hygiene of emotion. That's very important. You see, many sort of physical sort of illness also is very closely related with too much stress, too much worry, too much anger. So therefore, and then particularly the younger sort of generation, the female, young female, I usually say half teasing. You know, your external beauty, very important, and some cosmetic, something make your face important. However, the most important is inner beauty. So even you see, long-lasting happy marriage entirely depend on inner beauty, not external beauty. External sort of beauty, yes, make fun. And a few weeks, maybe a few months, then gradually start divorce. So with the inner beauty, then long-lasting sort of marriage happen. So therefore, please pay more, these young women, please pay more attention about inner beauty. Okay. Like that. So therefore, so yes, already I mentioned the compassion, the foundation for well-being. Like that. So now some questions, question answer, and I would like to receive some difficult question. Then it helped me to think more, to provoke my mind. Of course, sometimes I sort of say, half joke, half sort of say, real. We, the Tibetan sort of Buddhist study, according to Nalanda tradition, you see, we spend, a lot of time, and 20 years, 30 years study, and the way study, always some kind of skeptical. If someone says something, or even text says something, you have to think, if this literally accept, what's the what are the contradictions? Or what sort of contradiction like that? We always see trained that way. So therefore, more difficult question come, it is immense help to think seriously and find answer like that. So therefore, I wish, you see, more difficult question and question for contradiction. Most welcome. Thank you.
I don't think that's quite how it's going to work.
The Tibetan community discrimination was
Okay.
If you're serious, then we need more time to explain. You see, this problem, actually, last 4 centuries sort of history, last 400 years, it remained always controversial. Then in central Tibet, last now about 80 years, then this, you see, some people, you see, more seriously, you see, worship, you see, this spirit, including myself. 1951 till the early 70, I worship this. Then gradually, I found some problem. Then I noticed 15th Dalai Lama say, consider this is evil spirit, very harmful. Then 13th Dalai Lama also, you see, put a lot of restriction. So now the freedom or religious freedom, now you look, till I worship this spirit, I have no religious freedom, because this very much sectarian. So suppose follower of Yellowhead sect. So person who following Yellowhead sect, even Redhead sect or Blackhead sect, so text, keep your home, this spirit will harm you. So long I worship this spirit, I have no religious freedom. Only after I stop this sort of practice, then I got religious freedom. I received teaching from all Tibetan traditions, Nyingma, Gurkha, Sakya, Gyaluk. So actually, I think you have no freedom to read books from other lamas. Not only other tradition, but even same Gyaluk sort of tradition. Some other lamas writing, you see, you are not allowed to study, to read. So too much sectarian. Okay, but right from the beginning, I made clear it's harmful. According to my own experience, this is quite harmful. So it is my duty make clear. Then whether people listen or not, up to individual. Now if you want to see, go to South India. There is few thousand monks. There are special college carrying worship this. The land provided by government of India for Tibetan refugee. So refugee community can expel these people. We never done that. They remain as a refugee. Freedom. So you should know the reality. Like that.
So So I hope we can continue this session of questions in orderly fashion. You may remember Daniel Goleman through his groundbreaking bestseller, Emotional Intelligence, published about 20 years ago. He has since worked on several publications with His Holiness and has organized numerous meetings with leading scientists for him. He has written a new book, A Force for Good. I have it right here. The Dalai Lama's Vision of Our World. Published earlier in the year to coincide with His Holiness' 80th birthday. We are selling this book and the Dalai Lama's book, Beyond Religion, Ethics for a Whole World, this one, at our stall near the entrance. I highly recommend both. And we are selling it at a special discount this afternoon. Daniel Goleman will sign books afterwards near the bookstore. And now please welcome Daniel Goleman to the stage.
Thank you.
I would add to that, all proceeds go to charity in the tradition, and as is the custom with His Holiness, particularly the Mind and Life Institute and your charitable trust. Your Holiness, we have many questions from the audience, and some of them may be provocative for you. Reginald will see. I have a personal question, because I know you've told me, and I said in the book, which is about your vision for the world, that you listen to the BBC every morning.
Yes.
Wherever you are. I've been listening to the BBC since I've been in London here. My question is, how do you keep from getting depressed?
As I mentioned earlier, I believe basic human nature is positive. Most of the man-made problem, that does not mean exclusively men. Sometimes female also create a lot of problems. So in any way, human-made problem, most of the problem, including violence, clearly, cheating, bullying, these are our own creation. So logically, those problems we created, logically, we also have the ability to reduce these problems, to eliminate these problems. So climate change also is to some extent as a lifestyle also makes some sort of contribution. But basically, climate change, I think through millions of years, or even I think 1,000-year time, I think the position of our planet and the whole sort of galaxies, we see some movement, some change. So certain sort of climate change or natural disasters, these, I think, beyond our control. That's something exceptional. So therefore, man-made problem, logically, we also have the ability to reduce or to eliminate. Therefore, when I saw, you see, man-made problem, killing, bullying, then, we have to work hard. So, of course, in the short moment, very sad, sometimes tear. But then, that won't solve. We have to work with courage, self-confidence, and optimism. That's, I usually used to do that. I think you everybody, it's the same potential. So when and then media people, also you see, one of my critics since many years, they report, I mean, those negative things, murder, sex abuse, or scandals, or these things. So these become news. I think that also shows. You see, media say, millions of children get benefit out of compassion. That will not become news. Someone killed, then that become news, because the affection or practice of kindness we take for granted. Then someone killed or bullied, then we unexpected. So that become news. So, however, I think media people should make presentation more balanced, show all these negative things. At the same time, you see, we also have the ability, you see, to overcome these. So that, you see, people, they television watcher people, then you see get more balanced sort of understanding. Always negative side. Then many occasions, you see, some questions, you see, ask me, some question like, basic human nature is negative. Because of, you see, always hear something negative. You see, those people who have some sort of deeper experience and knowledge, then so won't make the differences. Won't affect. But the people, I think especially, I think the children, they always watch television. Then some negative, continuously. Then they are feeling, human nature is negative, violence, like that. So that's my view.
This leads to, it's a beautiful answer, thank you, Your Holiness. But
then also, you see, because of Troy, because of means computer,
yes,
this is some, it's a game.
Yeah, computer games.
Yeah. Violence sometimes. Yes. You see, I think personally, parent, I think should be careful. You see, too much thing, you see, fighting. I also, you see, when I was young, I very much attracted, you see, the military uniform and gun. So you see, young children, you see, these, some kind of fighting like that. You see, because of their love, they're excited. So that, I think, because unnoticeably, some impacts. And then, of course, for children, please, parent should spend more time with your children. And modern sort of life, you see, both parents carry some work. So, daily, less sort of time, contact with your children. Or children, you should put some nursing like that. So therefore, I heard, you see, through BBC, I heard recently, mother's milk, according to the need the child after birth, 1 week, 1 month, the certain substance or chemicals in mother's milk change according the child's physical development. I never know that. So sometimes you see we feed child some ordinary milk. I think that not sufficient. I think mother's milk should feed. So one time in Delhi, one interfaith sort of meeting. I'm representing Buddhist. The Catholic, no Christian, is to represent the Bishop Tutu's daughter. Then another one Indian Muslim representing Islam. Then Hindu, the Jammu Kashmir king. Oh, very good scholar. Wonderful. So I know since '56. So we become very close friends. So that very day, he beside me. So then, while we saw some discussions, talk, then I tease him. You are son of Raja, quite a big one, isn't it? Jammu Kashmir Raja, quite big, isn't it? Jammu Kashmir, and also Mysore Raja, I think quite big one. So you see, I tease him. As far as sort of mother's own milk, consume mother's milk, I am son of poor peasant. You are son of Raja. So as far as receiving mother's own milk, I am more fortunate. I received a lot of my own mother's milk. Raja, let other people, you see, look after that Raja's son and some other milk. I tease him like that, so he nodded. So these things, I think, the biological factor. So feeding your mother's own milk, and then spend more time with the child. And so you provide maximum affection. That's the first lesson in the life, the value of affection or value of love. Like that. My own case, my mother, very, very kind mother. We always say, her son, we means her son, her children. I think nobody almost never saw my mother's angry face. Really. So I consider very fortunate. But my father, very short temper. Few occasions I got some blessings from him. So I don't like my father very much. So therefore, I believe, my own sort of a certain amount of compassion, I think seed gathered from my mother. So that's everybody is saying. So that I want to share.
So, Your Holiness...
Of course, I'm monk. I have no children. So I have not much responsibility. Now these lay people, you have the special responsibility to look after your children, provide the maximum affection.
Thank you. Your Holiness, I see I better ask a lot of questions at once. There are many on compassion. Let me tell you these questions have come in by email from the people who are here. And compassion was the topic. One question is, if we are innately compassionate, if we're born compassionate, why is there such an obvious lack of compassion in the world? That's one. Second is, what can we do to tame our destructive emotions to become more compassionate? The third is, what is an education of the heart? How can we teach this to the children? And the fourth is, how can we become passionate toward people who do harm to other people, who are perpetrators of evil?
So I think I already mentioned, education is the key factor, the proper way to educate from kindergarten up to university level, that I already mentioned. Then I think last point, compassion, there are different levels. One level of compassion or love is physical factor, biological factor. That is limited. That's very much oriented about others' attitude. And so therefore, actually, the compassion, biological factor is biased because it's very much mixed with attachment. Now that take as a seed, then use human intelligence. How useful, you see, that was a mental attitude, and short term, long term. Then with help of intelligence, that biased, limited compassion can develop unbiased nature. So that's infinite love. So that love, I think testing about that love, think towards your enemy side. This is who harms you or who criticizes you. Towards them, you equally feel sense of concern. That's unbiased love. That without attachment. So therefore, in order to practice that, firstly, we should practice detach. Because this is certain loving kindness biased, is the obstacle of infinite or unbiased love. So that should reduce that. So then here, we have to make a distinction, actor and action. Like ourselves, when we make what we call confession, right? Concession, what do you call? Confession. You know, we've done something wrong. Then later you realize that's wrong. Then confess. So at that time, you made a distinction, your action and yourself. So now yourself realize that action is negative, wrong. So you confess. So similarly, someone is to criticize you or harms you, make distinction. Action and actor. Actor is concerned, still same human being. They also deserve our love. If you believe Creator, then your enemy, also created by God, same Son of God. Then action is concerned, you have to make sort of appropriate sort of countermeasure according to the situation. If you see necessary, you have to take counter sort of forceful measure. So without losing compassion. So actually, if you have some sort of experience, you see, these practice, then actually someone harming on you, so you develop sense of concern of their well-being. And out of genuine sense of concern of their well-being, take countermeasure in order to stop their wrongdoing. So that is a compassionate act. So these things you need more sort of knowledge or more thinking. And then also, it is very important, as I mentioned earlier, hygiene of emotion. In order to carry that, you need more knowledge about mind, about the system of mind, about a variety of mind or emotion. Then, usually I describe map of mind or map of emotion. Once you have fuller picture about the whole system of emotion, then you're able to sort of counter, handle these destructive emotions. So like compassion, anger, not just one solid independent emotion. No, it is related with many different sort of emotions. So when we have fuller knowledge, then much easier to tackle these things. So the study about mind, not necessarily consider, I think ancient sort of Indian tradition, a lot of explanation about mind, about emotion. So I publicly, you see, quite often you see mentioning as far as knowledge about mind or emotion is concerned, Western psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology, Western psychology looks like a kindergarten level. So Indian psychology highly developed. But then you Indian, I'm going to meet Indian community tomorrow. So I'm going to say modern Indians much neglected about this ancient your knowledge. The modern Indian too much westernized. So it is very, very useful. So these knowledge traditionally is combined with religious practice. But we should make separation. Religion is for religious believer. These, the knowledge about mind. So I simply use the science of mind, science of physical, science of mind, like you say, the academic subjects. We should treat these things as an academic subject so that we can fit the secular ethics, including knowledge about psychology, about mind, these as a part of education, then can fit in secular education field. Okay, like that. Next question.
When I was talking to you for the book about your vision for our world, when I was talking to you, I was a little surprised by the tough forms compassion can take that you described. Could you tell us about, for example, compassion in the public sphere with corruption, with collusion? How does compassion act there? You talked about dirty politics, dirty business, dirty religion, dirty science. What's the way to handle that?
All these human activities ultimately, you see, related with motivation. So if motivation, self-centered motivation, or the motivation one side to win, one side to defeat, then even religion also become dirty religion. So, like you say, politics, you see, the politics is some kind of instrument to solve problems in our society. But then the politicians, their motivation, sincere, then politics also, you see, because of good politics, truthful politics, a politician who carry politics transparently, honestly, truthfully, then, you see, it's people also then, I think, respect. So that's pure or clean politics. Politics, it's ultimately some sort of self-interest or self-benefit, then saying something nice. That actually cheating. So it become dirty politics. So religion also, for example, my own case, you see, where Buddhist or Tibetan Buddhist robe, and then you see teaching some self-centered motivation. Then that teaching become dirty teaching, like that. So therefore, the scientist is just some name or some other sort of dirty motivation. And then the science also become dirty science. I don't know. So far, I feel the scientist is more open-minded. I think genuine observer the reality of things. So in order to carry observation, your mind should be open, unbiased. If you carry scientific research with certain desire, should be that kind of thing, then your whole research become biased. Then not become true scientist, I feel. So sometimes I have more admiration these genuine scientists. And the elder generation, or I think classical scientists, sometimes you see their field is limited. Only sort of physical world where you can sort of measurement like that. So mind or emotion, then these scientists, it's just, you see, some vibration of brain like that. Now scientists, the later part of 20th century, and now this present sort of time among the scientists, some serious scientists really carrying some research work about, you see, the subtle level of brain movement. There they found some different element, not physical element, but some kind of very subtle energy which affect our brain. So, you see, they already noticed through training of mind, so-called meditation, several years, you see, it really affects their brain. So they more or less accept, or there's some phenomena which affecting our brain. Like that. So it's a science further sort of developing. I think within the next few decades, I think it will go further, deeper. And then modern science will become really complete. This moment, say, among the phenomena, only those with physical, non-physical phenomena, up to now, yes, I mentioned earlier, you see, in the past, not much sort of pasoda.
Not much interest.
Not much related like that. Then, next question.
So if you see that science, for example, and psychology and brain science can accept the idea that perhaps the brain is not the cause of everything, that science will change and is constantly changed, can you generalize that? Do you think that over the next century and over the past centuries, things have gotten better or gotten worse?
I think two, I don't know. Usually, when me personally, over 30 years, the serious discussion with scientists, he also, many years, we become very close friend. My motivation is two things. Science as a knowledge, or as a method to inquire the reality, increasing our knowledge. So the field of scientific research, so far, if remain only physical level, then it is limited. So the science must include those, because of the invisible phenomena, should include. So our sort of the dialogue, you see, the last 30 years of experience now become very clear. This kind of meeting, dialogue, mutual benefit to us, useful knowledge about matters, about atom and quarks, and also the cosmology, these things, very, very useful information. You see, some information there, but mainly, I think, imagination. In our text, is a certain sort of...
Just an imagination.
Mainly, I think, imagination. So the scientific sort of finding is actually, you see, so the observing. So therefore, it is very useful to us. At the same time, to scientists, the knowledge about mind or consciousness, sensorial level consciousness, and mental level sort of mind. So far, you see, scientists, on the basis of they investigate about brain function, they still not yet sort of actually make sort of clear the sensorial level consciousness or differences of sensorial level consciousness and mental level consciousness. So mental level consciousness also, you see, there are many different levels. Grosser level, more deeper, like that. So these they should study, should scientific research object like that. So they got sort of useful sort of new information about mind, about emotion, like that. So this is simply because of the extension about the field of science, scientific research, further sort of development. Then another sort of application is like, as I already mentioned, the scientific research. Through scientific research, they already know the destructive emotion or certain emotion very harmful. So we describe destructive emotion. What do you call? Oh no. Okay, all right. So then certain sort of what's the explanation about destructive emotion, how much is destructive according to scientific finding. It's really convincing, not just imagination. So therefore, as I mentioned earlier, the secular ethics based on scientific finding. So this is very, very useful, like that. So your own books, very useful, like that.
Thank you.
I think to some people, you see my books, religious person, you see talking like that. Okay. The scientist, you see saying something, then they pay more attention. Like that. So very useful.
So you have often emphasized that the future is in the hands of the people of the 21st century. As you said, the people of the 20th century created problems. There's conflict everywhere, refugees sweeping through Europe. Climate is heading for perhaps a disaster. Gap between the rich and poor is growing, and so on. How can people remain optimistic? What can the individual do to move things in a better direction?
Individual positive movement
like environment problem, and build healthy humanity. That means not only physical health but also healthy mind. This for entire humanity, entire human being they have the responsibility to build happy humanity. Even a selfish viewpoint. We are a social animal. Individual's future depends on the rest of the humanity. Firstly, rest of your community, then further. Now, for example, Englishmen here, you see your interest very much related with the Great Britain. Great Britain's sort of future, more prosperity, more harmony, more peaceful, is your interest. So Great Britain, whether you join European Union or not, you are a part of the Europe. So therefore, your interest very much related with Atlantic's other sides of America and this side rest of the Europe. And Europe's future very much linked with Middle East and Africa and Latin America, like that, and Asia. So actually, today's world become much smaller. And firstly, population, when I firstly came to India as a refugee, it was 6 billion human population. Now 7 billion human population. So population also, you see, increased like that. So end of this century, population will reach 10 billions. So, end the world, global economy, no national boundary, no religious boundary. So it's others' interest, also your interest. So therefore, for your own interest, you have to take care about others' interest. That's today's reality. According to today's reality, the concept of war is outdated. Because, very concept of war entirely based on concept of one side victory, one side defeat. Actually, defeat your neighbor ultimately very harmful, or destroy yourself. That's today's reality. So I think after the Berlin Wall disappeared, then you see the strong sort of the concept of we and they. I think that gradually sort of reduced. So some occasion I express some Nobel laureate meeting or some other occasion I mentioned. I just expressed my wish. NATO headquarters should shift it to Moscow. So then the millions of Russian mind, NATO is there something opposite. NATO headquarters now in Moscow. So come together. So like that, you see, physically, in the economy field, very much connected. But mentally, our old thinking, we and they. That's why some nations still, you see, worship guns, weapons like that. So like that. So these things, now, I think the reality, our perception, between there, huge gap. The reality, world just one. And our perception, still old thinking. That's my view. So I think the younger generation, here I want to share my German, one way friend, one way I consider my tutor about quantum physics, the von Weizsäcker, late von Weizsäcker, great scientist. You see, in 1990s, one occasion he told me, when he was young German, you see, in their eye, French is their enemy. Similarly, in the French eye, Germany is their enemy. Now, that kind of sort of concept in 1990s, you see, he says, now that kind of concept completely changed. So many occasions, when I ask some young European people, what do you feel is other neighbors? They say, just our neighbor. The old concept, too much sort of they and we, that is loose. So that's why they, like you say, French and German, in the past, they fighting like each other, like enemy. A lot of people were killed. But then, new reality, according to new reality, Adenauer, I think German, first Chancellor, Chancellor Adenauer, and the French President, President de Gaulle. See, they have this sort of concept of vision, the European Union. That today, I'm not very sure. I'm not aware. Not know is the current situation. But some time back, you see, Franco-German unified force. So these things, you see, really, you see, a new concept according to reality. Common interest is more important than national interest. So European Union started. So some time back, I remember Copenhagen summit about Earth, global warming or something like that. The important nations, they consider national interest is more important than global interest. So failed Copenhagen summit. And now recent days, His Holiness Pope also, you see, spoke very forcefully about ecology, environment, these things. Then also, you see, American president also, you see, really now, I think, committed seriously. So next, I think, some kind of meeting in France, I think. So I think some, concrete sort of some of the guidance or result may come. So all this, now think, each continent, each nation, their interest is very much related with humanity's interest as a whole, like that. So now, through education, through awareness, and also media, and you see, really, you see, have the responsibility to educate people. Now, time come, we must also educate people, you see, oneness of humanity. That's very important. So therefore, like the promotion of compassion or promotion of oneness, sense of oneness of humanity, first, individual, think that and develop conviction. Then share with your friends, like 10 people. Then each share more people from 1, 10, 100, 100,000, 1,000, 10,000. That's the way. And also, you see, preservation about ecology. Also, you see, you yourself, you see, start. Change humanity. Start from individual. Beside the individual, there is no humanity. Combination of individual, that's human society, that's humanity. So change cannot happen by government or even United Nations. But change, we individual, you see, should start, should implement your day-to-day life like that. So I also, you see, sometimes feel, the problem, enormous problem. I, individual, cannot do much. Then think, I'm one individual, so change world should start change you individual. Then, like a ripple survey, ripple, you see, you see, seriously think and change, then ripple goes like that. So you should not think, you see, helpless, hopeless, should not think that way. We are part of that. We all have the responsibility to build happy humanity. Like that. Okay.
Your Holiness, we have time for one more question.